Hopefully to be kind.
To be kind. What else do we teach them?
Identify.
To identify.
Others.
Okay, to identify themselves and others. What else do we? To succeed. To set goals. Right and wrong. We teach them all of these things about what it means to be human. Now, what I want you to think about is, what if your life was organized in such a way that everyone that you encountered, everyone that you dealt with, everyone that ever saw you, gave you dignity and honor for being you? Not because you had the right shape, the right size, the right skin color, the right hair, the right socioeconomic status. What would your life be like if the people around you, everyone, gave you dignity and honor for being who you are? Be a great world. I want you to think about the people that we are being advocates for. Sometimes we over or underestimate the power of who we are. It might be that the smile that you give someone may be the only smile they receive all day. It might be that the opportunity to give someone dignity and honor, your intervention, that one time of giving them dignity and honor that they did not deserve or earn, could stop them from doing something that they wouldn't have otherwise done. This connectedness, this brings us back. This goes in the face of every marketing person and every marketing scholar that's out there. Because what does marketing say? That if you want this, you have to buy my product. If you want this, you have to put this on, or you have to eat this, or be that. But if we're able to give this to individuals every day, we can start changing lives. All right? We can start changing lives. So I want you to think about giving people dignity and honor just because they are. Now, I've also equated this with this concept of respect. And I've heard people say, well, how can I give dignity and honor to someone who hasn't earned it or deserved it? Has anyone ever heard something like that? Or people will say, well, you got to earn my respect. You heard somebody say that? That's the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard in my life. Why do you think that might be the most ludicrous thing you've ever heard in your life, in my life? Well, to be quite honest, how do I know that I've ever done enough to earn somebody's respect? Everybody's had at least this one friend in their life, and it really wasn't a friend, but you didn't find that out till later, because they said, well, if you were my friend, you'd do this, and so you do that. And they go, oh, if you were really my friend, you would do this, and then you do that. Anybody had a friend like that, some kind of crazy relationship, till you figured out, wait a minute, whoa. The interesting thing about respect is this, that respect can never be earned. Never. It can never be earned. It can only be given. Think about a kid on the street that looks suspicious in some way, whatever that is for you, and they come over and they do a nice deed for you. What do you start thinking about that kid that was suspicious before? Something changes because they did something. All right? Respect can never be given, and respect has to be given. This dignity and honor and being human has to be given to people who don't deserve it. Is it easy to give somebody respect who's being respectful to you? Anybody can do that. Would you pay? What are the tickets for one of those professional NBA games? What's it, like $75, $100, something like that? Would you pay $100 and $75 to see me and my friends play basketball? Probably not. Right? What's that?
How good it is.
She said it's priceless. Because me and my buddies, we wear the short shorts. Right? Yeah, that would be priceless. The point being That we pay those exorbitant amount of money to see Adrian Peterson do the fantastic things that he does. It's because it's unique, it's special, it's different. So anybody can be respectful to somebody who's being respectful back to you. But can you be respectful to someone who's being disrespectful to you? Can you give dignity and honor to people who don't have dignity and honor for themselves? Because a lot of times people will say, well, if you give people respect, they won't respect you back. They'll treat you like a doormat. Anybody ever heard somebody say, don't be a doormat? That is the second craziest thing I've ever heard. Because the thing about a doormat is that it does serve a purpose. Helps keep your house clean. Right? The second thing about that is that it turns the situation to be all about me. Me, 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 me. Don't walk over me. Don't hurt me. Me, 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 me. But what I would encourage people to think about is that there's a difference between being a doormat and being a bridge. The same verbs that happen on a doormat are the same verbs that happen on a bridge. But what's the difference between a doormat and a bridge? A bridge goes someplace else. And so it's easy to say, these people are being disrespectful to me. They're not listening to what I'm saying, blah, 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 blah. And just to take that personally and internalize it and say it's all about me. But it's more important that we start figuring out ways to be bridges. A short story, and then we'll take a break because it's so hot in here. So a short story. So I live in Mounds View, which is like a third-ring suburb of the Twin Cities, and I'm on an errand. So it's a Saturday morning, about 10:30. So I go to a bar restaurant to grab some lunch, and I pop in. And Mounds View is not known for its diversity. It's not a diversity mecca. All right. So I pop in, and at this bar, at the end of the bar, there's a guy who is just drunk and red-faced. Ears red, nose red, the whole, slurred speech, the whole nine. And so I just noticed that, and I just kind of pay attention to, my surroundings. And so I'm standing there. So I get the menu. I hop up. I start ordering my stuff. I close my menu and give it to the server. And the guy has moved from the end of the bar right next to me. And I'm like, ugh. Now, I'm not afraid of drunk people because I can fight. But they're kind of unpredictable. You never know what they're going to do. And so I'm sitting there, and we're doing the Minnesota thing that we do, just kind of chit-chat, Minnesota nights, And so we're chit-chatting, and then he breaks into the thesis of why he sat next to me. And he leans over to me and he says, you know what? I don't like niggers. And I'm like, whoa, that's quite the introduction, right? And I'm not quite sure what to say about that. So I do the thing that any Minnesotan would do. I try to change the subject, right? So I go to change the subject, and then something in my spirit said, go back to that, go talk to him about that. So I said, sir, when you use that word, what are you talking about? And he says, I'm talking about ignorant people, uneducated, ghetto, on welfare, blah, 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 blah. And so I look at him and I say, well, sir, do you know any white people who fit that description? And he says, yeah. I said, how about those twins? And so we start talking about sports again and some other things. And then he leans over to me and he says, you know what? I don't like niggers, but I like you. So either I am or I'm not, or I'm not quite sure what to do with that. And so I asked him, I said, well, sir, what is it about me that you like? And he says, you have a good head on your shoulders, you seem well educated, you're going somewhere, and you just seem like a good fellow. And I said, well, sir, what if all of the people that you've met that you think look like me, all the people that you've met that you think look like me were idiots? And everybody else that you don't know is just like me. And he looks over at me and he says, I got to pee. So he gets up and he goes to the bathroom. And I'm like, yes. So I get the check, I get the tab, I'm out the door. I didn't have to punch anybody. I didn't have to embarrass myself. But when I get to the door, guess who meets me at the door? It's this dude, right? But he looks a little bit different. His hair is combed over to the side. He's got water driplets on his face, and he has a damp napkin. And he reaches out to me with a damp napkin and says, I have chickens. If you ever need fresh eggs, give me a call. So I take his napkin, I go my way, and he goes his way. What happened for him? An epiphany happened. I acknowledged him.
You gave him a different perspective.
I changed his perception. I gave him a different perception, a different way of looking at the world. Would you have understood if I had given that dude a piece of my mind? Would you have been mad at me because he called me or referred to me as this dirty, nasty name? You would have understood, right? But what would have happened to him had I done that? I would have reinforced everything that he believed about people who he thinks look just like me. A lot of times we spend so much time trying to be right or to do the right thing that we don't get to actually performing an act that can actually help somebody. One of the things that I realized is that part of my job and part of my duty, and it doesn't have to be yours, but at some point you have to figure out how do you move outside of yourself to actually do the right thing to help somebody else. You don't have to take the punishment I take. I'm not asking you to let people disrespect you or call you outside of your name, but at some point you have to look and say, what is this an opportunity for somebody to learn something about life? Or does it always have to be all about me? All right? So, we're going to take a yes, ma'am.
Did you ever call and get age?
I did not call